Hello, how's your Tuesday? I am Yori Folani. Thank you very much for being there with us this morning. The fuel thing. I mean, we've virtually forgotten the phenomenon, I would wager. You want to buy fuel, it became, drive in, drive out. But as of yesterday in particular, in some areas, and earlier than that, going to the beginning of the weekend, many areas had been reporting a sort of the queues are returning. And when I went into the experience myself, I wanted to, fill up, and the gates were locked against me at one of the very many petrol filling stations. And what's going on? He says, all the attendants could say to me, at least, was, "There's no fuel, sir." I said, what do you mean? Then he said, is it diesel you want to buy? No, not diesel into this car. So there's no fuel. I got the impression that if it was diesel, I might have come in. So where all of this is going, of course, is that there doesn't seem to be a problem with diesel. The problem seems to be with PMS, which to you and I is, car fuel. Now, people to help us understand what this is all about, because what we've got so far is just no more than speculation. And by that I mean, I would have wanted somebody, chief scientist of NMPC, chief scientist of whatever, petroleum engineer, to say, hey guys, this is what happened. And what we're told is that there appears to be contaminated fuel. And then I was reading in the press that some fuel stations have incurred expenses having to fix cars that have been damaged as a result of filling up in their station. So we have Comrade Bala, Zakka, oil and gas analyst, with us. Good morning, Comrade. It's great to have you with us, because I certainly want to get to the bottom of this as much as I can.
No worries, okay. No worries.
And Dr. Jide Johnson, a fine morning to you as well. We want to sort of find out, and I imagine you'll be very helpful in that regard, in understanding the fact that in all the reports that I've been reading, as you journalists always do, you see usually reliable sources. Nobody has said, I hold me responsible, I'm telling you this is the truth. So we don't know the fact yet. Maybe the Minister of Petroleum will come out. But let's first of all do what we can. Take the speculations that we have, Bala. This whole matter, I was reading in the paper that some alcohol content, I remember that from my, O-level chemistry days. There's something about a very high content of methanol and ethanol, which most people recognize as alcohols, in this, and this is supposed to be very highly injurious to machines it's put in. First of all, deconstruct all of that, will you please, Bala?
You're talking about internal combustion engines now, and when you talk about alcohol or methanol and ethanol, it's just like having something, a foreign fluid that is not supposed to be a part of the composition
of the final product.
Of the final product.
But is it a byproduct on the way to the final product? Or where did it come from?
No.
Where did ethanol and methanol come from?
Well, they are also on their own products, that have their own values.
So it's going to cost something to add it to something that doesn't usually have it.
When you talk about methanol, there are methanol plants.
Okay.
There are some plants specially for the production of methanol. So methanol is a product on its own. But when you talk about contamination of refined products like PMS, the commonest contaminant that most of the time people even spend money to treat and remove is sulfur. And fortunately, again, for Nigeria, and that's why when people like me get angry or get upset, that's not my real character, but it's just because of the context we are discussing, about. In the case of Nigeria, do you know Nigeria's crude oil? As far as Nigeria is concerned, the crude oil, the sulfur content is what we call almost trace.
Exactly.
Trace.
And so that's why our petroleum is seen as the, what is it? Is it Brent crude or whatever?
No. Brent crude is the marker. Okay. When you say benchmark means you come up with a standard. Anybody who meets up with that standard, then you now tick that person.
So Nigeria crude oil is a premium quality.
Fantastic. First of all, when you talk about international market, first of all, crude oil and gas, when you talk about crude oil and gas, you're talking about international products. and everything about the products, I mean, are traded at the international pedestal, and they are not even within the control of a local country. So when at the point of selling, or when you want to sell, you have two markers, you know, and they are the reference markers for all the other crudes. The crude that you're talking about, the first one is the West Texas Intermediate, WTI. Then the second one is the Brent. So Nigeria's Bonny Light, because our own local crude is called Bonny Light. So our own Bonny Light is referenced with the Brent. And as I speak to you now, Brent is selling above $90 per barrel. Ordinarily, a time that Nigeria should be selling so much, exceed her OPEC quota, and even be begging OPEC to give her or allocate additional quota to her, but Nigeria is not even able to meet up with her OPEC quota. So that telling you where the problems are coming from.
All of this is fascinating stuff. Now I want to know if you can, since you're not in there, you're not in NNPC, I want you to speculate as a scientist yourself,
yes,
how this could have happened. That is to say, we get product allegedly contaminated with sulfur. I've read about sulfur, as you've just said, yes, and then this whole methanol and ethanol kind of thing. How did this happen? How did this happen?
The simple thing is negligence and irresponsibility. Quote me.
I'm going to come back to you so you can develop that.
No problem.
I'm going to come back to you so you can develop that.
No problem.
Yeah, they're trying to... Huh? They're trying to say me something, but I'm switching on long enough. So I wish I could hear what they're trying to say. It might just be that they're trying to say that there's another guest on the line. I don't know. I don't know what they're saying. They're not speaking to me. It's one of those kind of days. Please bear with us. Now, Dr. Johnson, why... you know, there are policy aspects to this thing. The scientists will do their stuff. There are regulations, there are guidelines, there's administration of policy and all of that. And yet, we are taking what we are picking from sources because we need to ask what has happened, and we're not getting anybody to say this is what has happened. The press is doing its own usually wonderful job and is, you know, find itself limited to not mentioning that Jide Johnson told me this. So instead of Jide Johnson told me this, it will come usually very reliable sources. What's that all about?
Sources that remain anonymous.
What's that all about?
It's a society whereby people are not ready to take responsibility. Taking a cue from what Comrade Bala Zakka said, is negligence and for me, incompetence. Let me add incompetence to it on the part of those who have charged with responsibility of taking care of us as a nation. In the sense that the question you asked, how did we get to this position? We have the best crude oil, and that our crude oil. Are you getting my point? In the international market, people are clamoring for it, yet we are not able to develop the capacity to process that crude in our own country. Now, the international market dictates the price with which we sell the crude oil, and then they also dictated the price with which they sell the refined products back to us. Now, if we are so crude in our thinking, in our approach, in our processes of not processing our product, of not refining our product, so they will sell us products. And I have a personal experience on Glory, just to take this home. On Sunday, I traveled to Akure. I bought full tank from Lagos. When I got to Akure, I bought fuel coming back, PMS, Premium Motor Spirit, coming back to Lagos. And I've not traveled to Elisha. When I told my son, who was also with me in the car, that the fuel I bought in Akure, there's something wrong with this fuel. Now, my consumption level shouldn't be up to where it is now. Did I buy spirit, or what did I buy? Because something is definitely wrong with the fuel. And the thing there is that there are agencies of government. We have not seen an SPP spokesperson coming out to talk. We have not seen the Minister of Petroleum coming out to talk. All we do
is taking cover
to speculate.
Everybody's taking cover till they can get the story straight.
To speculate
and then come out and say, now this is the big statement.
To speculate with what has happened, and that shows irresponsibility.
Indeed, it is a problem that we have, but even going with the speculation that this is, well, first of all, being an armchair, having been close to him for a while, and being an armchair sort of a chemist, ethanol and methanol. Yeah. And then you say the thing was evaporating more than we thought. Every that alcohol will evaporate. I'm finished. That's my chemistry for the day.
So to be honest, it's very, very unfortunate. I think it's till this. I've been growing. I'm a Nigerian. I'm in my 50s. But honestly, I have come to understand that our leaders don't even understand what it means to be called leaders. And if they don't, and because that's my feeling, and I want to let them understand what it means to be called leaders. When we call them,
you're taking this into the realm of politics.
No. Okay. I want to explain it because it's a technical thing. We're talking about crude oil.
Yes.
PMS now. Yes. Why we are calling them leaders is because we collectively decided and possibly willingly handed over our economic, political, and social destiny into their custody to manage for us. And when you call somebody a public servant or a public leader, what you are saying is you have given him public asset to hold and manage in a fiduciary capacity. That simply means apart from any other thing the person will be doing, you require some level of competence in that. You require some level of dexterity and even conscience.
Okay.
And to that extent, to me, all these are lacking, and that's why we have this kind of contaminated fuel, which ordinarily shouldn't even have been imported. We are not even supposed to be importing refined products.
I don't know very much about it, but I wouldn't be surprised if the question that Bala is posing is not part of the reason we have this reticence in coming out forthrightly, because government doesn't like rumors, and government also knows that, look, you keep quiet too long, the rumors will fester. But still, they have not been able to come out and say, we're killing this rumor dead, this, and this is what happened, and this is how long it's going to take us, and please bear with us. Somebody cocked up.
Now, let's assume that we have that contaminated. Well, here's our reserve, our national reserve for petroleum product. Now, if there are contaminated fuel, which particular batch is that fuel? Through which port did they enter Nigeria? Who are the suppliers of this particular fuel? Are we able to isolate that and then back it up with our national reserve?
Because this fuel you said is very elementary. I'm hoping so.
No.
That they are able to
it's elementary. But refining is elementary chemistry. Refining is elementary chemistry.
Energy is power. It's a critical sector.
It is.
It's national security. You see, America had problem. They had to open up their national reserve late last year. Now, do we have a national reserve? What is the role of NNPC in this? What is the role of PPMC in this? Beyond pricing of the petroleum product, what about the quality of the petroleum products that come into the market? You see, we are asking questions because it has to do with public policy. What measures do we put in place to protect the life of an average Nigerian? That's the responsibility of government, and that's the mandate we have given to them, and that's the contract we have signed. So, because there's no official position, there's no official there's no official explanation, we will go into the realm of speculation. Well, because nobody is ready to take responsibility.
There's so many petroleum analysts out there. Perhaps some of them are watching this, and they might have, just like engineer comrade Bala Zakka has also said, look, in the absence of hard facts given to us by some person responsible, it could be this, it could be that, and maybe they also have a notion because of what's going on. Because I'm still astounded at how this could happen. You see, it's a bit like the problem we have when they say they smuggle our PMS out of the country,
which is a lie,
and you know that
which is a lie.
A tanker trailer. How many?
Let me analyze something quickly.
Look, how many of those trailers are passing the border? And they say we're smuggling?
In the days of Okonjo-Iweala, I remembered. She said Nigeria was losing an average of 400,000 barrels of crude oil per day. But a lot of people will think it's just some buckets of crude oil. But do you know what? If you convert the 400,000 barrels to gallons, then to liters, you are talking about 67 million liters of crude oil. Divide that by a 33,000 capacity tanker, you are now talking about 2,000 tankers of crude oil per day. So you know,
how do they slip past the border unnoticed?
And not that only on notice, every day. And based on that, now let me start analyzing the many lies that made me to feel our.
Before you launch, let me bring in Josephine in Ajah, who has been waiting. Good morning, Josephine.
Uncle Yori, good morning, and your guest.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning,
Can
madam.
you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Clearly.
Yes, we can hear you very clearly.
Thank God for your guest you brought. Thank God for Bala. I understand the pain Nigeria is going through. God bless you all. We are all suffering because we have a deficit of a bad leadership. That we don't have good leadership. First of all, people voted for this government because
Madam Josephine, Madam Josephine, far be it from me to try to, gag you in any way or form, but this fuel artificial scarcity is what we're talking about now, ma'am. Would you like to, address that too?
I'm just creating a foundation. Can you listen to me, Uncle Yori?
Okay, ma'am.
I'm just trying to create a foundation.
Okay, ma'am. But be as brief as you can,
because
please.
This is as a result of bad leadership across board. We don't have people that stand for Nigeria as a Nigerian. I almost see this thing as a way of removing the subsidy, because this thing has been started. This scarcity has started last week from Abuja. I'm telling you. We are seeing it. They can't pay the subsidy. This is a way of removing it. Except they come out to tell us that they are having shortage or they are having bad fuel. I'm telling you, you want to remove it from the back door, and it will not work. Why did you freeze the refinery the first time you came into power? That is our biggest problem. They are putting money to maintain thieves. They maintain people that are not working. They are maintaining the refineries yearly, no results. No result, because Nigerians are patient. Nigerians are very peaceful people.
All right.
This thing will happen in that country. Nobody will take this kind of hardship and bad governance.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much, Josephine. Josephine, thank you very much. Appreciate your calling in. The point that she brought up, I believe I asked that question off air. Let me do a quick check with both you gentlemen.
No problem.
Have you heard of this kind of a scenario happening anywhere else in the world? UK, Switzerland, Netherlands?
Don't let us go too far. Republic of Benin, Ghana.
That they shut down the petrol stations because it is contaminated. Have you heard of that? I'm just trying to see if it's what usually happens from time to time. You haven't. Have you heard of that?
If things happen like this, people will be tied to a stake and shot.
So somebody has to be held responsible.
And she was saying something about subsidy. You see, that was, I said I was going to come out with a chronology of these lies.
Okay.
We were talking, people till tomorrow, Nigerians need to be educated and guided. Even those unprincipled technocrats need to be educated on what subsidy is all about. But unfortunately, in the process, we may even make the country, complicated. But let me tell you, the proponents of subsidy are only insisting now that things will go well if you remove subsidy on PMS. Ask those proponents of removal of subsidy on PMS, what has happened to diesel? As at yesterday, diesel was 430.
Yes.
When they said we needed to deregulate diesel or remove subsidy, they jacked it up to 120 and said it was going to come down. Diesel as at yesterday was 430 naira per liter. Kerosene was 390 naira per liter. From that time to now, those people that are saying remove subsidy, Where are the people who have come in to invest? Nothing. They lied and concocted so many things on PIA.
I wanted you to land. So
No, okay.
Reverend Dominic has been waiting for a while. Good morning, Reverend.
Good morning, Yori. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good morning, my friend Bala.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, Dr. Jide.
Good morning, Reverend. It's a pleasure to.
Now, Dr. Jide and Bala, do you know what I want to say? Honestly, when you brought this topic this morning, to me it's quite embarrassing to me as a person. I don't know whether you supported Buhari government and APC in 2015. One of the reasons is that this fuel subsidy, this issue, you know, when we occupied Okota against Jonathan, they are the one who said, no, this shit must stop. Why do we have petrol in our backyard or what was petrol products or black gold, and we cannot refine here? And this government and their people and everybody thought that when they get to power, first thing they will do at least is maintain old refineries and build new ones. Bala, you're an expert. Why is it difficult for me to build one refinery in Nigeria? Why is it that difficult that Nigeria as a nation will build one refinery? I have experience many years ago where we took from here to Holland. Do you know that Kelly moved from Holland? He said he wants to go and refill. I thought he wants to refill in New York or in Saudi Arabia. Guess what we meet ourselves? In charge. All of us in that area that they look at ourselves. That Kelly moved from Holland to come and refill in Chad, Republic of Chad. I don't believe Chad has any petroleum products or crude oil. But Chad has a refinery. You think Nigeria cannot have a refinery, Bala? Bala, you're an expert. We have quarreled over this thing before. So an expert. Why is it not possible for you to have a refinery here? Yeah. Whether we have a refinery here and sell for 1,000 a liter, it will be good for me. At least we are paying our children, our brothers, our uncles. You know, we're paying their bills. We're exploiting. Whether we said what somebody said the other day, you had it. Somebody said that for we to have a refinery here does not mean that PMS will be cheap. But fine. Let us have a refinery here and we employ our people.
Okay.
I say it's costly that we bought it from outside. But why is this cannot be the refinery? Thank you.
All right then. So if in case you're just joining us, we're discussing what is being referred to as dirty petrol that has arrived, and so they're not selling, leading to an artificial scarcity.
Okay, thank you, Oga Dominic, and I want to answer Oga Dominic straight away. As far as I am concerned, and I stand and I challenge to be put to a contest in this your studio with any process engineer, chemical engineer, petroleum engineer, or mechanical engineer that I said refining of crude oil is basic and elementary chemistry. I said it. And if anybody is saying it is not, I am waiting for that person to come and challenge me. And I am saying, with due respect, because people are watching us from all over the world, that heart surgery, kidney surgery or transplant, even cesarean section operation is not only one time but 10 times more complicated than refining technology. Refining technology has to do with what we call principle of temperature differentials. You will have your crude oil, you will boil it, you will have what we call a distillation column to distill it, then you are going to have fractionating columns to bring them into fractions according to temperature. At a given temperature, cooking gas LPG will go its way, petrol go your way, diesel go your way, aviation, and that is it. Anything beyond that is cosmetic. And so as I speak to you now,
and so this is where you're saying you can't understand why we're not able to do what all engineers know is at the end of the day a very
and I want to tell something that will be very that will make some Nigerians feel like crying. Okay. If you go outside the shores of Nigeria, Nigerians are working in refineries of other countries, right, and we discuss amongst ourselves and exchange knowledge. They are also wondering why that elementary chemistry and technology is not working here. Because they are working in refineries
because people will not make money through round tripping.
Exactly.
People will not make money through round tripping.
We should talk about national interest.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Very well, thank you.
Good morning to you.
Sure.
They are absolutely accurate and articulate about this subject. And my last, I just commented, President, that we haven't had fuel queue for his 7+ years.
Yes.
Now, I think they heard and they now in the narrative, but they shouldn't go that way. I think we always try to bring Ngilari. He hasn't been talking. The truth is, your guest has said it. There's no reason why we shouldn't have refineries. There shouldn't be any reason. Nigeria is such a funny thing that, okay, you will award Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, pay mobilization, pay all the money will disappear. The road will not be fixed. That's what we are doing. That's why we have refineries. I mean, we have illegal refineries now that are being destroyed or damaged every day. That means that the system is possible. Even local refining is possible. I mean, we can do local refining to the level of our own competence. So there's no issue about whether we can refine locally or not. I think it is that we are not ready. Or we are sorry. Is there somebody who wants to sell Nigeria? Please let me ask, I beg. Somebody wants to sell Nigeria. They won't sell Nigeria. What did they want to sell them for? Thank you, sir.
Indeed, thank you very much for calling in. So dirty fuel is emerging and it's juxtaposing itself, this phenomenon, on the whole matter of the possible increase in the price of
sir, let me tell you.
People cannot,
sorry, I'll come to
people
you.
will not, you imagine that. Now, the major cross of the economic
people
policy,
are going to make a connection.
major cross, they'll come to that conclusion because there's no explanation, there's no official explanation from government,
Maybe
from
government
agencies of government, from because freaking around. And do we know the amount of fuel consumption we consume in a day? Do we know the amount of that? It's only in Nigeria that we don't have records. I tell my students this, number is so important to God that he named a particular book the book of numbers. But we live in a society that has no respect for numbers. We are not interested in numbers. We don't have accurate numbers. What is the total consumption? What is the amount of money we are paying on fuel subsidy? People are making money from this system. Now they make money from round tripping, so they would not pray for us to have refinery here. And then, look, the bottom line, once the refinery is in place, if we talk about that, we solve the energy problem. I tell my students this. The major problem God had in the beginning, when he created his world, was solved by light. Now, if we solve this energy problem, the industry will just imagine us having just 4 refineries in Nigeria. Look at other industries, that the petrochemical industry,
many.
Government is not ready to do what it's supposed to do.
Other matters surrounding this artificial scarcity resulting reportedly from dirty fuel. Fuel reportedly has been contaminated. We don't even know what with. We've heard sulfur, we've heard methanol, we've heard ethanol. Long story short, it's a killer of engines, and refueling stations, so we're hearing, are incurring costs because they have to fix the vehicles. Long story short, here we are. As I said, in my experience yesterday, when they wouldn't let me into the filling station, they asked, but do you want fuel or diesel? Meaning that there's nothing wrong with diesel. If I'd said diesel, they would have probably said, come on in. And so people are linking, I think it was Madam Josephine from Aja, people are linking dirty fuel and the attempt to, well, not so much the attempt as the initial idea before it was suspended, indefinitely now? That whole matter, has it been indefinitely suspended now?
Well, they were just confused on what they wanted to do. But let me ask this simple question. You said diesel has been deregulated. The question is this. Those people who were saying it should be deregulated, it was 120 then. It is about 400 naira to a liter now. Virtually all the strategic commercial sectors, strategic industrial sectors, and strategic domestic sectors have collapsed. As I'm speaking to you now, if you go to the back of this studio, don't be surprised to see 4 or 5 generators running all on diesel. Hospitals, the same thing. The worst thing is if you go to a hospital that is supposed to be probably a 30-bed capacity hospital, even if they have just 1 or 2 patients, the generator must run all through the night. Go to hotels, go to factories. They've collapsed because they cannot meet up with their operating cost. So who is saying that as you deregulated the people are not crying? And let me tell you one thing again about this refining and all these things. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I got to take Effiong. Effiong is in Uyo. Good morning, sir. Effiong in Uyo. Effiong, please continue. Effiong got cut off.
And when people are talking, you know, the lies have been too many. Yes, and I believe so many Nigerians will know.
Lies.
No, the lies are too many.
Is it a lie or not knowing?
No, it's lies. The reason is because there are technocrats that have decided to become unprincipled. They decided to become praise singers, because now I don't even blame the leaders, because when you make somebody a technical assistant or an economic advisor, that person is supposed to tell you the truth in national interest. But when you see technocrats that should tell the government the truth joining the bandwagons of unprincipled technocrats and praise singers, the only thing is you will just do is to come out and say it.
Let me take that
and
point
that is the fact going on.
Let me take that point that you're making and bring it to Jide, because Jide also comments on issues of governance. What he is narrating there, that he feels clearly that the whole governance system has been compromised if you have advisors, technical experts, that, as he said, have joined with other forces. First of all, that's a bit surprising to me, but again, maybe you're much more experienced.
No, it's everything for it boils down on leadership, Uncle Yori. You look at it,
leadership.
That's
where Josephine in Nigeria started on leadership. And I wanted her to quickly come to the matter of the day. She said it is connected.
You look at it, who is the Minister of Petroleum?
Mr. President.
Now, should you have the President as Minister of Petroleum? Should we not have a substantive? There are a lot of things in the presidency that the president could handle by himself. For you to get clearance through any issue in Ministry of Petroleum, it has to get to the desk of the president. You have a Minister of State. You have a Minister of State with respect. You have a Minister of State to that respect. And there are levels of officials across level. Now, what Comrade Bala is saying is nothing new. It's not rocket science. And there are people,
chemistry.
You have people in government.
In fact,
you have people in government with shared responsibility.
Why I can believe that. You know, people that are accused of bunkering and all of that kind of a thing. If this, I don't know what bunkering is, but no, go back to even
bunkering is good. It is illegal bunkering that is bad. Now, bunkering simply means transferring fluid or liquid from one point to the other.
Were they not refining fuel during the Civil War?
Look, that is the shameful thing.
Were they not
as far
fuel?
Back as during the days of Biafra,
were they not refining fuel then?
got young boys at Uzuakoli, Nigerians, some of them undergraduates, and they were refining and coming up.
Illustrating or underlying the point that it's not rocket science.
We've seen many clips of joint task force,
years ago.
Joint task force on illegal bunkering, destroying illegal refinery in Niger Delta.
That's
now,
right.
if we could come up with that technology, how can we not transfer this technology at the national level?
In Agor Palace. Mr. Adeyanju in Agor Palace, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Yori.
Yeah, go ahead.
And good morning to your panelists in the studio.
Thank you.
Comrade Bala made it clear, very clear. Refining product or crude in Nigeria is not a rocket science.
Are you an engineer yourself?
He doesn't need to be.
You're a pharmacist. But Bala just said you don't even need to be an engineer to know what he's saying.
He did chemistry.
Exactly. And the truth of the matter is that I have not seen reason why this country should not be great from all parameters. Is it population you talk about? Is it skilled population you talk about? Is it geographical location you talk about? Is it natural resources that you talk about? Nigeria is blessed. Is blessed. And I see no reason whatsoever why this country should not be among the great nations of the world. Unfortunately, the base of development in our country and most of these African countries is leadership. 30%. Bad leadership. Bad leadership is our place.
Okay.
And as long as we continue to have leadership in place, believe you me, it might be difficult. That's the truth. It might be difficult for Nigeria to come out of this end.
Okay.
We are in a serious mess. I want to say, because if our leaders would depend so much on the Western world to do everything about it. In economics, they have adopted the push. How many times has the United Nations given Nigeria economy big push? Have we helped us? How many times have we adopted one policy or the other? You know, as we helped us, we need to look inward.
All right then. Thank you very much, Mr. Adeyanju. I want to appreciate you for calling in. We're looking at dirty fuel.
Yes.
Dirty petrol has entered the market in Nigeria. Now people are telling us that there's stuff in there in the dirty fuel that is highly injurious to the society. And what we're trying to find out is, how did this come about? And that's where leadership has taken, you know, the
in fact, sir, let me tell you how shameless some of our Nigerian or current Nigerian leaders are. As I speak to you right now, the outgoing Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC Secretary General, has been a Nigerian.
Yeah.
Sanusi Barkindo. He has been there for 8 years, pretending over that. Meanwhile, his country cannot refine crude oil. That on its own should have gone into the conscience of our leaders, even if to make that man proud. We came into democracy about 22 or 23 years ago. Even if it will take 10 years to construct one refinery,
at least you should have two.
And you have your own citizens pretending over the biggest cartel of crude oil. You can't even make him proud by having functional refineries.
And we have had in the past.
What can we say?
Well, Jide, we're waiting on Dangote now, unfortunately. Wait. I know. Don't eat me raw. I know a lot of people. This is a very serious but you see, this whole point about we can't do any refinery. Now, Dangote has come along with the one that's going. Is it going to be the biggest in the world or the biggest in Africa? And government has bought a stake in it. Yet they wouldn't make it possible for other people, smaller setups, to also, you know, do what Dangote is doing. So you can understand where people are.
That's the policy point of view. Now, when we move from government monopoly to private monopoly, that's against the spirit of the regulation. The whole essence of spirit of regulation is to allow all commerce and all journalists to join and people to participate at their various levels. And then you ask yourself this question, Uncle Yori, beyond the government, these people selling the petroleum products, how come that all of a sudden they lock up their gates and they start selling?
It's a syndicate.
They start selling. They start selling for one pump.
Syndicate.
Now, the first supply we have. Excuse me, please. The first supply we have should be enough in all of those fuel stations, should be enough to service the whole of Lagos for the next 2 weeks without any supply. However, since people make money from the misfortune of Nigeria, since they see it as an opportunity, any slightest opportunity, people just exploit, because oil is national interest and it's strategic to our development.
What you're doing is you're analyzing it, and from the facts, you're bringing out these, conclusions. If only government would say something that it is not so. They've left us to our own devices, and here we are now. The very leadership is now what is being questioned.
But at the beginning of this discussion,
Essien called in from Iyenagoa. Good morning, Essien.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. I thank your panelists for this wonderful analysis. I think this has been the fairest analysis since I have been following this program. And let me just say this, please. I think we need a brain drain in this region of the country. What do I mean?
How?
Young men and young boys all over the creeks are building refineries for less than 5 million naira and are making condensate fuel, condensate diesel and kerosene.
Did you mean $5 million? Did you mean $5 million?
With about 5 million naira. I said 5 million naira. You can build a refinery in one of the creeks. That is how cheap it is to build a refinery. And a country like Nigeria is depending on individuals to come and build refineries for us. I mean, it is a shame. 2023, we have an opportunity. And you will see persons coming to tell you, we will build roads here, we will build this, we will do that, we will revive our refinery and so on and so forth. How much does it cost to put up modular refineries in these oil producing states? How much does it cost?
Yes.
When small boys are building illegal refineries everywhere, killing us everywhere here with suits. We cannot breathe fresh air in the city of Bayelsa or the regions of the South. Please let us get it right this time around.
Thank you very much, Essien. Thank you very much, Essien. Now, government doesn't need this kind of a controversy.
I'm happy he said they cannot breathe because those are pollution plants. But there was something Dr. Jide said. Dr. Jide was saying something about strategic reserves. You know, a strategic reserve in a country is something you are going to bring in during times of difficulties. If we were to truly have strategic reserves, the contaminated fuel wouldn't even have been able to go into circulation. Because once you suspected something was wrong with the quality, the first thing you will do is you will halt it. Then release your strategic reserve and carry out what we call quality control and quality assurance, QA/QC. That is also a pointer to the fact that Nigeria does not even have strategic reserve.
Wait a minute, I want to understand that a bit, because you've addressed something that was concerning me, that how did this happen in terms of how did it pass the gate? And you just explained
exactly
that if we had
strategic reserve,
we would have known. So that we don't have a and if just saying, but without saying that is what has happened. Even if we don't have strategic reserve, is nobody going to hold up a flag?
We've already spoken about
let's test
we've spoken about
before we let it
we've
in.
talked about the negligence now and the irresponsibility, and you're really like, we keep saying, okay, let's even come down to the basics. If China is refining and has state-owned refineries, Qatar, Libya, you know, Iraq, Iran, Malaysia, Brazil, and even non-OPEC member countries, and even countries that do not have crude oil are refining. Are we saying all those countries and their leaders are fools? And if they are not fools, who is the fool here?
What is the difficulty? Because I'm going back to my own point. What is the difficulty with somebody with the authority, with the knowledge? Somebody like somebody has already referred to our friend Ajuri Ngelali. Say, go and bring Ajuri Ngelali.
They have run out of ideas.
Ajuri Ngelali can only say what he would have been briefed to say, as indeed could the Minister of Information.
Who is the spokesperson for
the Minister of
NNPC?
Information?
Who is the specspokesperson for NNPC?
Where are all those people?
Who is the spokesperson for? Who is the spokesperson for?
Why are they all keeping quiet?
For Ministry of Petroleum.
Okay,
who is the spokesperson?
Why are they keeping quiet? Let me try answering some of those questions. I'm not there. I've never had romance with government in anything in my life till today. But let me tell you, we were lied to that modular refineries were going to give petrol. We said modular refineries don't produce petrol because they are not equipped with catalytic cracking units. We were lied to that petroleum industry bill, once passed, so many things will go. Till this moment, let somebody show me one investor that has come in. We were lied to that will go into auto gas. And who are you to change the technology of another vehicle? You will be charged for intellectual fraud.
I think you're angry with government. You know why I say so?
I'm happy.
Because you're angry with government, and that's your prerogative.
Many governments.
Because you are saying we were lied to. You're not saying we were told.
Okay, the question is, if after some time the whole thing does not crystallize, what do you call it? If you say something and it does not crystallize, it becomes a lie.
Sunday in Otokpo, good morning, sir. Sunday in Otokpo, you've got to mute the volume of your TV set, otherwise you won't be able to hear us. Sunday in Otokpo, can you hear me?
I will do that indefinitely.
Okay, as soon as you've killed the volume, yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Sunday.
Okay, sir.
You can't watch, you can't listen on television. Sunday.
Very clean and clear. Okay. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
What I want to say is that okay, what I'm saying is that the reason why Nigeria refused to do refinery
is because of our leader, our Nigerian high profile. They have refinery outside there. Any president that comes out to want to do refinery is in trouble. And that is why our refinery is not restored. Not that they don't have the money to do it. That is a simple reason.
Okay.
God bless you, sir.
Thank you very much for calling in. I'm sounding like a broken record. Nobody in authority has told us yet that this is what is going on.
Because they have run out of information. Okay, let me tell you something that is happening. And I challenge the technocrats to say I am wrong. As we speak today, Nigeria is not able to produce to even meet up with her OPEC quota. Because as I speak to you, in the whole of Nigeria, quote me, in the whole of Nigeria, we have less than 10 active drilling rigs. By the time you look at the rigs on the land location, swamp location, and the deep offshore, meanwhile, the price of Brent, which is the marker for Bonny Light, is $90 per barrel. Is this not the time we are supposed to ordinarily have so many drilling rigs and be producing and meet up with OPEC quota and even meet up with our budget production volume and breach our budget deficit?
Pending when someone comes along from government and tells us, I'm putting you out of your misery, this is the truth of what went on. We're just going to have to manage to find our way, Jide. That is to say, if you have stockpiled fuel, which is a very dangerous thing to do, if you're not a professional, maybe you'll be able to survive this. But one way or the other, you're not going to be able to use your car until they give us the all clear that, okay guys, you can go. Now that I was refused entry at the petrol station, I'm not even going to go there, whatever it takes.
As I was coming to the studio, I saw a fuel station and I saw a few cars, and I looked at the time and I knew I wouldn't get to the studio for this program. And then my conclusion is very simple. I'll park the car at home or in the office. Anytime that the fuel stations are clear, I'll go to the fuel station to get my fuel. And it comes down to all what we are saying. We have not seen official position. If this had happened in other climate, you'll have seen people coming out with official position.
People will have resigned
to tell us what has happened and the rest of it. It's like when government is not showing responsibility by not responding to the needs of the people. So the word responsibility is ability to respond. Now the government has not demonstrated the ability to respond to the needs of the people in the society. So people will come to speculation, is this a strategy for them to increase the price of petroleum product like they have planned?
Which will be a very underhand method of going about it.
So people will come to different types of conclusion, because in a process where you don't provide people with adequate information, speculation, rumors, and conjecture take place. And the different conjecture...
Apart from the bashing that the leadership is getting, that all of this, Josephine started it from Aja. It's all about leadership.
And some of us have friends who are Nigerians who are working in refineries outside Nigeria. We talk to them every day. They know this thing. Some of them are even managers. Some are superintendents. So there is nothing. There is no direction. Whether government comes out or not, there are so many things that are not going right. You're talking about a country of about 200 million citizens. The last time you constructed a refinery was in 1989, 33 years ago. Is the population not rising? Are the number of cars not rising? Will the requirements not rise?
It's only fair to add, Bala, that what you just said, there's so many things that are not going right.
We are waiting for them.
There also are so many things that are going right.
Normally we're talking about fuel.
We're talking about fuel.
If you want us to talk about fight in Sambisa, effort in terrorism, those are different subjects. We're talking about a different subject.
If you want to talk about infrastructure,
those
ones are different. But when you say so many things are not going wrong, which is
as far as the oil and gas industry is concerned, or even the downstream in particular.
Yes.
Now, the other question, apart from federal government, let's look at the state government. Now, you have state governments that have comparative advantage when it comes to producing oil products. Why can't some of these state governments come together and establish a refinery? I'm just throwing a closer, because we must look at what's the way forward. If federal government is not taking the initiative, Dangote has taken the initiative as a private individual. I look like state like Rivers State, Bayelsa State coming together to establish a refinery. Is there anything in our law that prevents them from establishing a refinery, or what stops Cross River,
we just about
Dangote's vision already existed. Even if Nigeria were not to have crude oil and gas. Dangote had the vision of establishing a refinery. That's one thing. So Dangote is a businessman with his colleagues, and they have the vision of going into so many things. But as a nation, country is supposed to provide goods and services for her citizens.
We're going to have to leave it there, guys, and we've no more than scratched the surface. Quite frankly, if even that, because we simply don't know what's going on. Now, the other day, the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, he went out and told us, NFIU, the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit,
whatever,
and Bureau de Change, and we've identified sponsors of terrorism and all of that. He was briefed. He was briefed by NFIU.
We have not gotten the list.
But he was briefed.
We didn't see the list. We just got the briefing.
Somebody had better get cracking and brief the minister or whoever on what exactly has happened, so he can come and tell us.
When people say Nigeria is on autopilot, this is the reason why people say Nigeria is on autopilot.
Of Rivers State,
something will happen.
State. This should be the issues that some of the electorate in those states should ask them.
These leaders don't come out to talk. Then the country is on autopilot. They are the reasons why Nigerians are saying Nigeria is on autopilot. They should come out and speak out.
Thank you very much, Comrade Bala Zakka, oil and gas analyst. I would have put.
But we are still loyal citizens to our country.
Indeed.
We want things to work better for
Dr. Jide Johnson, Chief Lecturer, NIJ, Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you both, gentlemen, for helping us, I think, try to understand this subject.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
That's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Fulani. Bye-bye for now.